Good day, everyone. Glad to have you here with me for this edition of MeteoMark's Weather. Glad to have you as we take a look deeper into February here. Yeah, we could be looking at another warm spell as we head throughout next week, but watch towards the middle part of the month as we get right around the 14th and 15th. We starting to see a surge of this polar vortex. Could we have a piece of the polar vortex be dropping down here? Let's get into it. So as we continue along here, this is utilizing the GFS model. Let's go out beyond our 15th and 16th here now. You can see it is holding on. This is out to 384 hours. We're going to take a look at our CFS medium range climate model and Euro momentarily. But you can see here across northeastern North America here, this cold air has been building for quite some time. And it seems like we're going to start to see a surge come the latter part of February here. All right, so if we take a look at the European model here, a similar trend. We do get a cold shot as we head throughout maybe later on in the weekend here in the Northeast, especially during the nighttime hours. But however, you can see that is going to eventually spill southward here. European is a little bit colder on this. We can get out to about, here it is, on the 11th. And one thing to note is the European is definitely colder here than the GFS. We can't go as far out here on the European model, but you can see these cooler temperatures and cold air is really starting to build up here north or south of where the polar vortex is. So this is of concern that we might actually see, a surge south. This would actually be good for people who want snow. So that might be coming later on in February here. All right, so here we go with our polar vortex. Thanks to Tropical Tidbits here for this nice model animation. Look at this. Yeah. So we got the polar vortex dancing literally almost pretty much polar north here. This is February 9th. So you can see it's just continuing to meander. We're looking for evidence that we could see a piece of it break off. And you do start to see by this point, look at this. This is towards February 14th. See how these darker blues start to show up? And it kind of wanders towards Northern Europe and Asia here. We start to see some warming over in this region. So essentially what we have here is a push of colder air towards the south. And that's what we're going to start to see signals here towards the middle to latter part of the month. You can see that heading towards much of the lower 48 here, especially the East Coast. This is towards February 17th. Now look at behind it. You do start to get that cell of warmth. But look at how this is meandering more towards, more towards Asia. That's going to be the trend we're going to keep an eye on here. It's over mainly in Europe at this point, but as we go to the last few frames here, Saturday, February 17th, this may be our best shot here this winter across the east for some decent snow. So here we go with the European model. You can see there is that big Omega Ridge up here into Canada and part of the Great Lakes, Northeast, Midwest here. Towards the 5th here, you can see that storm system sliding across Florida and the Bahamas. Pretty strong system for that far south, but look what builds in behind it. Another massive blocking ridge for the February 8th time frame. And then as we continue in time, we continue to try to hold on to a little bit of a ridge here across the east, but you can start to see by the 11th here, things may be changing just behind this. As we start to get ridging out west, could that mean big troughiness in the east for the latter half of February? Let's take a look at the CFS. And here we are with the CFS model. Yeah, pretty much agreeing with the European model time frame. We're going out beyond where the European left off. You can see, look what's happening here. Yeah, this is exactly what I was talking about. This is right around the middle part, 15, 16. Could we have something forming here? This might be the right conditions we need. Wow, look at that. That's towards the 18th. So this hangs around for quite some time, and we get these systems pinwheeling across the Gulf Coast regions, and look how they flare up. I really do think that late February here could be our chance at possibly some blockbuster scenarios that could lead to some strong East Coast snowstorms here. Now, let's just go a little bit further out here because the model will allow us. Yeah, you can see that's towards March 1st. That trend is continuing here. So let's just stop it right there. You can see what's going on here. More systems lining up here across the Gulf. So I wanted to show you this as well. This is 6 to 10 days average temps out. Yeah, it's a raging inferno here across the east and central states. It's colder out west. This has been the trend here, and it's been trending the first half of February. Now, as we get to days 8 through 14, you see that just solidifies there across the Great Lakes, Northeast, and the Midwest. Precipitation-wise, yeah, out west, we're going to continue to see above average, well above average, up into the 60th, 70th percentile in some of these areas here of the Southwest. Look at this across the East Coast, though. This is the first part of the month. We're just seeing a massive deficit. But look at this. As we head towards day 14 and 15 here, we start to kick some of this moisture back east, and I think that's where we'll start to see, drying out here in the Pacific Northwest. That moisture plume is going to start to kick east. Now, one thing I always like to take a look at here is our NAO index, and this is going to be a big change over the next, say, 15 days. Look at this. We're right up here. This right now, we're at almost +2. So it's not too surprising that we're seeing this quiet weather pattern, especially across east. But watch how it starts to fall later on here, second, third week of February here. As we get towards the middle of the month, look how we go negative here. And it's quite possible some of the models are taking us towards -1. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. But the more negative this NAO index is, the more wintry precipitation, weather, cold air outbreaks, that sort of thing could congeal here across the east of North America. So here we go. We're starting off here with the GFS for your precipitation outlook here. You can see it is going to be quiet across much of the east as we progress through the rest of the week here. It's out west where things are going crazy here. You can see all of these systems heading eastward here. A system, a Colorado low, really starting to get strengthened here as we head towards the 3rd into the 4th. And look at this coastal missing the Northeast ever so slightly. If this was just further west, we would be getting wintry precipitation into the Northeast. That's just not happening. Now, look what happens. We have this area of high pressure here over eastern Canada, and that is going to push these systems like this across the south. So they're going to exit out this direction. That's not what you want to see for any East Coast snowstorms. Look at out west, though. Classic El Nino pattern, lining these storms up one right after another as we head throughout the 8th into the 9th as well. Now you can start to see what happens here. A warmer pattern kicks in as these systems cruise across western North America, right up here across the plains. So giving the Dakotas a chance of snowfall, but that's going to drag warm air up to the east here. Let me just zoom out so my Canadian friends can see. Look how quiet it is up here, except out west here. That's been the trend. And look at this. Here in the east, it's warm enough for rain all the way up to the U.S.-Canadian border right around the 10th. Now, look what starts to happen. We get a storm diving across the deep south into the Ohio Valley. That pushes a low up towards the Great Lakes come the 11th. Now, it's just after this time frame we start to see a big change. We start to see a parade, these long drawn-out low-pressure systems. There's 4 of them right in a row here. Could this be the precursor? Could we start to see some sort of snowstorm here across parts of the Northeast that will change our weather pattern? Well, let's get into that part of it. That exits the 13th, 14th, sets us up for lake effect snow. So this is the first, couple days that we actually see a chance of snow. Weak low pressure here across the Ohio Valley. Look at Canada, though. Just completely dry, just bone-chilling cold. Here across South Texas towards the middle of the month, yeah, rain kicking up. But if you notice, let's just back this up for people in Florida. Look at this. That high pressure is protecting you. Let's see. You have the 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Yeah, you do get some low-pressure systems that move through most of Florida and the southeast here, the 4th and the 5th. But for the most part, after that exits about the 7th here, pulls the moisture well off to the east, and that's where we're going to see a drying trend as this subtropical high kicks in across the Bahamas. So here we go. That kind of stalls across the Florida Straits here down towards Central America. Now, as we continue towards our pattern change, we start to see evidence of it here. Much more southerly storms here. And look at this. We got energy to the north. So it's going to be interesting come the middle of the month of this energy and the system here across the south meet up along the U.S. East Coast. All right, so let's look at our European model here. Let's get it. There's our timestamps. Now, as we cruise along here on the European model, you can see out west, it's pretty much a similar setup here to the GFS. Here's our low pressure across the southern plains as we get towards the beginning part of the weekend. That low pressure cruises to the south here towards Florida, so you get some showers and thunderstorms just in time for the weekend here as we head throughout the 3rd, the 4th, and then pulling away finally on the 6th. There's that system way too far out to sea to get an East Coast system out of this. But look at this cold high building here across the Northeast. It's not going to be so cold, though. You'll have overnight lows that are cold, but some of those areas in the Northeast, Ohio Valley, could be cracking 40. And I'll show you that on the temperature maps momentarily. But here is the European model going much colder. Here's that system pushing across the eastern part of the United States by the 9th here. That's signifying a big change in a weather pattern here. As that pushes to the east, you can see a storm lines up here along the Gulf Coast. You can kind of make out some energy here into the eastern Great Lakes, so it's kind of a similar situation setting up only a little bit earlier here on the European model. And total liquid equivalent precipitation here across North America. If it'll kick in there we go. Look at this. Yeah, this takes us, wow, look at that. Gulf Coast region, Florida, yeah, you're inundated. But look at there. We'll just take it through the 7th here. Look at here across the Midwest and the Northeast. We pretty much, our weather is almost non-existent here. All right, so snowfall forecast here with our European model. It's mostly out west. Look at this. Across the East, it's almost non-existent. Look at that. Even in eastern Canada, you have to go into the far northern stretches. Maybe Nova Scotia and New Brunswick area, northern New Brunswick, could get some significant snow towards, say, the 10th and the 11th of February. But look at this. Most of it's confined out west here, the Rocky Mountain West, Canadian West, even the Canadian Plains here. This is actually some good news as we head towards February 11th here. Lots of snow kicking out here across the plains of Canada here. So look at this. This is why I haven't had a whole lot to talk about lately. This is kind of crazy out here. And here we go, Jim sending in some lake effects, or should I say ocean effect snow that was propagating here from parts of the ocean here just near Long Island and propagating southward here across New Jersey this past Tuesday. Nice capture there, Jim. And sometimes we get this sort of thing. It's very rare, but you can see it there lighting up here across parts of New Jersey. All right, so for my tropical viewers, I did not want to leave you guys out. You know, I'm getting excited as we head towards tropical season, not because, you know, hurricanes are so destructive, but I do love covering your weather across the Caribbean, Gulf, and Atlantic here. It's always a pleasure. Let's take a look here. We got, you were as quiet as the Northeast here in the United States. It's not till, say, let's just back that up here. It's a fast mover. Towards the 4th and the 5th, look at the Bahamas up here. You do start to get some shower and thunderstorm activity with this low pressure that's kind of heading a little bit further to the south than they normally do. But, you know, it's not unheard of. It drags a cold front here. You can see where the low pressure is here. Even Bermuda getting in on the act here. Port-au-Prince, Haiti as well, Dominican Republic, and eventually Puerto Rico towards the 7th. Oh, wow. Look at that. We're going to have to take a look and see if that's going to pummel some rainfall amounts here across parts of the northern Lesser Antilles here, the Virgin Islands. But look at here across Central America. You only have a few showers through about the 8th here. Look at that. That is a drying trend, but look at that. That tail end of that front getting all the way down towards Trinidad and Tobago here as we head towards February 10th. And look at that. It kind of just washes out there with a few scattered showers. Not much from Jamaica to the Cayman Islands. All right, so let's take a look at your precipitation amounts here, if we can actually get those to come up. I'm not sure what is going on here. These are not... Wow, this is like kind of crazy. There we go. Okay, that is better. Pivotal weather, please. Oh, it's the new model run trying to load. Okay, there we go. So as we see across the Caribbean here, look at this. It's mostly dry through about the 5th, and then you start to get some shower and thunderstorm activity from the Bahamas down to Jamaica. That's where you could see upwards of 30 to 50 millimeters. Locally higher amounts, that's getting on an 1.5 inches, close to 2 inches. And as we get here into the Eastern Caribbean, look at this. Yeah, it's not until about, say, the 6th, 7th, and 8th. Wow, look at that surge of moisture. That's what I was talking about on the model. Upwards of 100 to 125 millimeters right around Puerto Rico, Virgin Islands, Northern and Lesser Antilles here. This is where we could be looking at 3 to as much as 4 inches of rain. I got plenty more weather for you in just a moment, but take a look at my affiliate. Do you want some awesome maps? Check this out.
I am proud to announce that I am now an affiliate with Trilogy Maps. TrilogyMaps.com, bringing you the most digital, customizable maps found nowhere else on the internet. These maps are simply stunning. It's an advanced layering system that makes these maps great for making forecast maps with ease or any other maps that you would like to display important information on. The resolution on these maps is simply amazing. From the detail of everything here in the States, and you can also create stunning, digital, professional layered maps from also across the entire world. And don't forget, in checkout, the discount code option, use my code, MeteoMark, hit apply, and you will get 20% off your order. So if you want the most professional, customizable, and affordable weather maps found nowhere else on the internet, look no further than TrilogyMaps.com. Link in the description down below along with your discount code.
All right, so temperature-wise here, look at this. A raging inferno is building here across the southern plains and parts of the southeast. Temperatures get into the 60s and well into the 70s here along the Gulf Coast regions from South Florida all the way to South Texas and Louisiana, all points in between. Look at here across the Ohio Valley Northeast and the Rocky Mountains. This is where you'll see, some of the coldest air, but really by all winter standards into Saturday as well, this is not cold. This is not even cool. Look at this. 40s pushing all the way up into the Ohio Valley. Look at this. Building warmth here across the southeast as we get towards Sunday. Look at this. Almost pretty much up to 50 here across the Dakotas, even into parts of the Ohio Valley. Kind of holding on to some cold air from Cleveland up to Buffalo, Erie, but even that is near 40. That is not cold for this time of year. We've had a lot worse. And look at this, as we head towards Monday, February 5th here, only cold air here is across northern New England, holding into the 20s. Look at this warmth just continuing to build. We kind of moderated into the 60s here, 70s near Miami, but look at this. The plains are just baking out here by February standards, and that is going to start to bubble up even more. 70s are building again. Look at this. We got the 50-degree line, even Pittsburgh up into the 50s here. This is crazy. Extended outlook from hometown viewers, Binghamton to Scranton's Upper Susquehanna River Valley. Take a look at this. Friday, yeah, maybe a few scattered rain and snow showers before noon, but look at that, up towards 40 again. Overnight lows Friday night and Saturday, the 20s, but look at that. Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, all through next week, sunny skies, temperatures soaring through the low to mid 40s. As always, I want to thank you for joining me for this edition of MeteoMark's Weather. Join me on Facebook at MeteoMark, also at Weather Northeastern, also at Hurricane Northeastern, and also at Susquehanna Weather. Also Twitter at Weather Eastern, and you can visit me at MeteoMark.com. Thank you for joining me. Don't forget to check out my winter weather outlook for 2023-24, and link in the description down below, as well as my affiliate, Trilogy Maps.